An interesting question from Alfred, and I'll allow each of you to opine on this. Alfred Kabuchu, thank you very much for joining. And Alfred says, as a board, how do you manage the situation of personal integrity and self-preservation of board members or board members serving their positions versus pushing for the best objectives of an organization, especially when dealing with strong CEOs or management or cases where the CEO is stronger than the board chair?
Right. Now, not in the board as I sit on. No, when we're talking about the skill, one of the things that I talked about due diligence that we really try to manage at the board is this thing we call conflict of interest. We are all in a way conflicted, but what you want to do is that really have all there will be annual declaration, there will be checks and so on, so that when you sit in the boardroom, you may have, everyone has an interest. You may get on the board and you say, what I would like to pursue for me, it's say the interest of the youth, right? That is my only interest. But when you get on that board, articulate the interest of the youth, but be able to say, but what at the end of the day is in the best interest of this organization. Therefore, you may have to subjugate personal interest. It is very difficult to get a board member, if you want the skill that we're talking about, who may not have conflicts, but these conflicts need to be managed. And the issue of checking the integrity, checking the dealings that they do. We have rules, for instance, if you are a shareholder, in a company at a particular period in time, call it a closed period, you are not allowed to deal with the shares you are in that company because you have inside information and so on. So I need to also put that in the picture that it is all very well having the skills and the experience, but you must also have the integrity, because the reputation of the organization will be killed if you do not have the integrity, because you are setting the tone at the top. And that is very, very critical. So, Bwana Kabuchu, important question. How do we do that? Regular asking the question, regular declarations every year, regular, regular checking of whether things have changed, where should have changed. But then also, would like to have board the people who have the integrity say, you know what, I have now entered into this arrangement. I think it is conflicting, or if it does, this is how I'm going to manage it. So otherwise, you are not really going to get the board members with that experience that you are looking for, because somehow they will be conflicted. Yeah, you may, if you are with grace, and everyone in the board supports the same team, you may have a problem. So you need diversity. So that's why we have on the panel Arsenal and Liverpool. And I don't know which is in the lead. That one I don't read the league tables.
Interesting. And Ruth, many boards have the same question, but at times when boards raise an issue, all the CEO does is send them on a trip to Spain for a conference. And then they'll come back and try to raise the issue, and then they'll go to Joburg for a world climate summit, yet it's not a climate change board. What do you do in such cases? Because it's happening.
Can you tell me the board? That's one I want to join.
Because it's happening. So how do you handle that? And that's Alfred's question, I believe.
I think these are fundamental questions. So you'll be needing bold leadership of that board that decides which way to go. And I think this is now the chair, the board chair, and maybe if, let's say, if it's family owned, and maybe family members that own that business, or if it's a listed entity, a group of co-directors that see the vision of where they want to take the company. You will not succeed as a company if your template is unethical behavior. And I think now with Twitter and all these spaces, the employees are going to call you out. They're going to call you out. They are going to be anonymous, and they're going to call you out. But I also wanted to attack this question through the CEO angle, the rock star CEO, this untouchable CEO, and a darling, to all these board members, and maybe doing things unethically under the table, but because they can pay you off as board members. So those are fundamental ethical issues. So as a board chair or as a board leader, you will have to go back the drawing board and say, this is not the board I want to lead. The one I want to lead will move like this. You may even have to fire that rockstar CEO just so that you change the culture of that organization and go, on a clear path where you want to take the board. Yeah, but I think in a similar setting, we had a chat over this rockstar CEO issue. It's a big issue in many markets, and especially in this market. But you have to deal with it head on. I think the power play between the chairman and the CEO is normally an issue. You know, you find a chairman maybe who is a retired civil servant, and the CEO is really a rock star in the market.
Yes.
You know, there are power play issues there.
Yes.
But get serious board chairpersons that know where to take the organization, and they take that organization to that clear path.
Thank you.
Rachel,
yes,
I recommend
yes.
talk about a rock star CEOs. Of course, we want CEOs who are performing, who are excellent, who bring in results, who are responsible, who know about society. But look at if you haven't already done, look at the BBC documentary, the bank that almost broke Britain, Royal Bank of Scotland CEO.
Yes.
It's about 20 minutes. Just Google it. Go and have a watch, and you can see what a rock star CEO can do to an organization. So yeah, I would recommend that. Have a look.
Interesting. And Grace, thank you, Japheth. Grace, your perspective on this? You're receiving an air ticket to go and watch a Liverpool match from a CEO who has issues at work.
Yeah, of course. Of course, I would love to go to Anfield at the Merseyside and enjoy and enjoy the sleek, beautiful game. You know what I'm saying? But
you don't get beaten.
but I think on a more serious note, I think the question is then, why are you on the board? I think that's a fundamental question.
Good question.
I think with reflection, you could say many people get approached to be on certain boards, and some people who have strength of character and personality decide to say, I'll be on that board. I'm sorry, thank you very much, thank you, but no, thank you. You know? The other comment I wanted to make, Rachel, I hope that point is made.
It is,
because
thank
I
you.
don't think board members are hostages onto boards.
Correct.
They can choose, and I'm sure, not necessarily me, of course I can, but if there's a director like Japheth, can go to Emirates and watch that other team,
Yes,
at his own cost, and that's fine. That's also talks to these very needy directors. Then those directors get captured
Correct.
by what my learned, can I say so? My learned somebody here on my left says rockstar CEOs. They think I'm going to use Ruth's name because she's not needed. They think Ruth is needed, so let her take a ticket and go away. And they think it's prestigious to travel, not knowing that Ruth has traveled all over the world and does not even want to travel.
Correct.
So as directors, you need to ask yourself, why are you on the board? Secondly, is the question of, then when you are on the board, what do you do? The significant part is probably the simplest part, is to ask questions and get answers. I was going to use the word demand for answers. I once sat on a board where a chairman of the board reminded directors that for us, we are directors, so our job is to direct.
Yes.
So we direct. No,
Yes.
but to demand for answers, ask questions and demand that the questions are answered to your satisfaction. So if they are not answered to your satisfaction, then what do you do? What you do is then depends on how you as an individual,
Yes.
your character, your strengths, your integrity, your ability to lead, because you are on that board to provide the necessary leadership, not for your own self, but you are an agent of the shareholder for this organization for which you are a steward. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.